Hello, I'm pleased to share with you today some insights and tools about how to understand and grow circular demand. The Share, Reuse, Repair initiative is a project of Makeway Charitable Society. We're very pleased to have Van City as a strategic partner and funder, and also co-founders who provide both ongoing strategic guidance, including the Vancouver Economic Commission, Recycling Council of BC, Recycling Alternative, amongst others. So our mission at the Share, Reuse, Repair initiative is to foster a robust sharing, reuse, and repair sector that is a waste and climate solution, enables everyone to live circular lives, and supports resilient and just local economies. We have a unique focus, we think, on both creating a greater supply of circular goods and services, but also cultivating cultural and consumer demand for that supply as part of a broader narrative about the circular economy. So this includes the fact that the circular economy is not only a waste solution, but is also a key climate solution. Sharing, reuse, and repair extend the life of things, which reduce the need to make new things, which is really key because the production of our consumer goods accounts for on average 90% of the greenhouse gas emissions. Fortunately, many businesses are finding ways to monetize sharing, reuse, and repair in new circular business models. Circular goods and services are also critical to allowing people to live and make more sustainable choices in their daily lives, or as Van City calls it, lighter living. In fact, we're seeing large companies like IKEA frame their corporate purpose around sustainable living every day for the many, which includes a variety of circular products and services. The transition to a circular economy can be quite labor intensive, particularly in the next 10 to 20 years, requiring more people to make the most of materials and products. We have a new Just Circular Recovery and Transition program that is exploring and activating the development of inclusive job creation for circular jobs, with an initial focus on Greater Vancouver. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is the dynamics between circular supply and demand, and share 3 tools that we are bringing to BC and Canada from Finland, together with a variety of key partners, in order to better understand and tap into circular demand. Essentially, circular demand is the collective will of people that ultimately gets expressed in people choosing circular products and services. And this is important because circular businesses can get ahead of demand sometimes. They can underestimate it and or not know how to tap into it, but they can also fail to anticipate future demand and so miss out on innovation opportunities. I really like this photo of Daryl, who's a Metal Tech Alley entrepreneur, because it shows that he's both part of circular demand, which is even more broadly circular culture, with his lifestyle and consumer choices. But he's also enhancing circular supply as CEO of Advanced Biocarbon 3D, which is making non-toxic plastics from wood, obviously a renewable resource, and in doing so, growing local manufacturing and jobs. Circular demand and circular supply have a complex dynamic, and circular plastic innovation right now is a really active space. But the question is, how did we get here? And basically, over the past 10 plus years, there have been some key drivers pushing demand. First, there's health. Starting with the realization that chemicals can leach from plastics into our bodies. And it started with bisphenol A being exposed in baby products and grew from there. Then there's also planet as a driver, with environmental groups, social media, Netflix documentaries, all highlighting the devastating impact of plastics on our oceans and marine animals. And most recently, social justice, the sort of first world shame evoked by images of people in developing countries, particularly children, surrounded by our plastic waste. Leading edge consumers then responded to these drivers. Zero waste bloggers, particularly mom bloggers, were a major response to bisphenol A in baby products. Then came zero waste zealots who competed with each other to see how many years of waste that they could fit into a tiny jar. And in fact, I've seen up to 5 years. We then saw leading edge entrepreneurs respond to meet this consumer demand and grow it further, many of whom were zero wasters themselves. These include stores like the soap dispensary, where you can fill up personal care products in reusable containers, and then Nada, which is a fully zero waste grocery store. Collective cultural demand continued to grow and ultimately resulted in a host of policy and bans, starting with bisphenol A and then blossoming into a range of single-use plastic bans from local to national levels. And this sort of combination of consumer demand and policy have motivated an escalation of supply, with a variety of startups focused on reusable container models, edible containers, and upcycling coffee shop waste. But now medium-sized and larger businesses are joining in. Reusables is a new model for restaurant delivery takeout that has spun out of Spud and FoodX, established existing businesses. And of course, there is Loop, a grocery delivery model in reusable containers, sort of based on a modern version of milkman delivery, that involves food and personal care products of major companies that's currently being piloted in many places, including out east in Canada. So repair actually has a similarly interesting and complex dynamic, and it's fair to ask at this moment, is cultural demand for repair at a tipping point? We've seen a proliferation of repair cafes globally and in BC, where people bring their household goods and electronics to be repaired by volunteer fixers. The repair organizations that run these cafes have strong social media and Facebook networks that, together with the community-based nature of cafes, play a strong role in normalizing and mainstreaming repair behavior. When we led a prototype repair cafe model in 2019 with the City of Vancouver and 3 social enterprises, we had to tone down the promotion because they were so popular. The Right to Repair movement is a strong and diverse coalition of nonprofits, like involving iFixit, consumer advocates, business associations, the farming industry, and individuals demanding the right to parts and information at a fair price to repair things on their own terms. In response to all of this, we are seeing, first in Europe, right to repair legislation, which has passed for bulky household items and electronics. We've also seen right to repair legislations being introduced in the USA, Australia, and Canada, and soon BC. Some BC municipalities, including Nelson, have passed right to repair resolutions at the local scale, and it's making its way to the Union of BC Municipalities as a formal resolution this year. Now, early supply-side innovators have responded to this. They include folks like Patagonia and HP Canada, who many may not know actually has the first 10-point endorsed laptop that is endorsed by iFixit as being super repairable. We also are seeing things like 100% secondhand malls in Sweden called Rutuna that exclusively feature upcycled and repaired furniture and goods. And that is starting to come over here. We have a new startup in Vancouver, for example, focused on furniture repair, which I'll talk more about. But recently, I'm seeing evidence of larger businesses exploring repair. For example, I was recently a guest speaker for IKEA Canada for some webinars focused on care and repair. And I just learned that TELUS Canada bought Mobile Clinic, I believe it's pronounced, which is Canada's largest mobile repair business. So this is an interesting space to watch as we look to see if we've reached a cultural tipping point around repair that may, in turn, motivate an escalation in supply-side innovation. So I've just talked about 2 examples, circular plastics and repair, that highlight the often complex dynamics between circular supply and demand that evolve over time, involving a whole diversity of actors: citizens, startups, established businesses, government, also universities, banks, and nonprofits. The question, though, is how do business make sense of this complexity? How do they tap into existing consumer demand to grow sales, or anticipate when it's strong enough to land new innovation successfully? Well, I'm pleased to say that the Share Reuse Repair Initiative is bringing 3 circular demand tools to Canada in collaboration with a variety of other entities, including One Earth, Citra, Van City, the UBC Sauder School of Business. I might have been lost there for a moment. Sorry about that. And Circular Citizen. These were 3 tools that were first initially developed by Citra, and we're exploring bringing them to BC and Canada as a starting point. The first tool is called the SMART Consumption Profiles. And these are 7 motivational profiles that show that most people are motivated by things other than saving the planet. They're motivated by health, saving money, being cool or trendy, feeling good, bringing joy to their family or friends. And what impressed me is that these profiles were activated in Finland and resulted in increasing the number of Finns that practice sustainable, including circular behaviors, by 21%, which is really significant. So we decided to partner with nonprofit One Earth to bring these lighter living motivational profiles to British Columbia as a starting point. The lead sponsors for this include Van City and Citra, and we also have a variety of co-sponsors, including businesses and nonprofits, and we want to thank all of those for their contributions and support. So we're still doing this work, but I'm happy to share with you today a sneak peek of the results for BC. It'll be interesting to consider what the motivations might be for the population where you live or work. Each bubble here represents the dominant motivations of BC residents in terms of their attitudes and behaviors towards choices about housing, mobility, banking, food, vacation, leisure, and stuff or consumer goods. So one of the key points I want to make is, as in the original Finnish study, people are taking lighter living actions, including choices about circular products and services for diverse motivations beyond saving the planet. And what this really means is that the demand for circular and sustainable is actually much higher than we think. BCers motivated by the planet to some degree are actually only 34% of the population, with 14% in the healthy life and planet motivation that are the sort of strong eco niche. But this actually can grow to 63% when we take into consideration also 2 other motivation profiles, waste not, want not, and practical traditions. This is really exciting. And in fact, 22% of the BC population that are waste not, want not are not in fact motivated by green reasons, but are doing lots of sustainable and circular behaviors. The second point that I want to make is that it's possible to move people from the left, less sustainable living, to the right, more sustainable lifestyle choices, if we understand and tap into their diverse motivations. A preview into waste not, want not motivation profile can illustrate some key things. This is a group of the BC population who are often overlooked by sustainable and circular businesses. And this is too bad because they actually have quite sustainable and circular behaviors like favoring repair, but not for green reasons. They choose to live lighter as a byproduct of motivations to minimize what they own and reduce all forms of waste. They're not purposely choosing to do things because of the planet. Their motivations are anchored in lifelong minimalist and frugal values and attitudes, and also by recent life transitions such as retirement. When they do shop for stuff, they're motivated to find the best piece or a good deal, or take budget-conscious choices like repairing what they already own, buying secondhand, or purchasing energy-efficient appliances. To reach the folks in this motivation profile, the innovation itself and the messaging need to speak to their motivations: saving money, being practical, using only what you need. The messaging needs to focus on facts and not on emotional appeals or environmental benefits. By doing this, businesses can reach an untapped segment of the BC population beyond those overtly motivated by the planet, and thus enhance sales and market share. So we're pleased to be able to be hosting a public webinar in late June where we'll profile and share those 7 profiles in much greater detail. We're also in the process of developing an activation toolkit for both cities and businesses. Van City is in fact already a business that has quantified the profiles for their members and are exploring activation in terms of refining their marketing messaging and potentially also their product and service offerings. The other thing that we've done is we've actually taken these lighter living motivation profiles into the second of the tools that I'm going to talk about, which is the SHIFT framework. So scaling circular innovation requires not only understanding and seek to speak to diverse motivations of people and populations, but also the right and often quite precise messaging to overcome what can often be called a very stubborn say-do gap. In one study, 65% of consumers said they wanted to buy purpose-driven brands, but only 26% actually made the social good purposes. So that's a lot of say-do gap that needs to be addressed. The SHIFT framework, developed by Dr. Kate White and her PhD student Rashad Habib for Citra, distilled global best practices in behavioral economics, psychology, and marketing into 5 key factors that you can see at the bottom of this slide that are proven to support eco-conscious behavior changes. So one factor is social influence, which is about social norms and desirability that motivate behavior change. Habit formation is both about breaking bad habits and forming new ones. Surprisingly, new habits can actually take around 66 days to form. Individual self is about speaking to people's individual values and the benefits to them. Feelings is about the choice to tap into both positive and negative emotions. And finally, tangibility is about making often fuzzy or future sustainable or circular benefits or impacts more tangible. Marketing messaging that is designed using these 5 SHIFT factors alone and in various combinations can address the often sort of subtle psychological, emotional, and or habit change needs of specific target markets to shift specific consumption behaviors in more circular or sustainable directions for often quite a significant result. We designed and just finished our inaugural Shifting Consumer Behavior program involving 5 workshops and 7 innovators from January to May, providing an opportunity to learn about the shift factors and then design, test, and refine messaging to support desired behavior changes with their target markets. Again, our project team was diverse. Dr. Kate White, a UBC starter, was a key delivery partner. And we're also pleased to have support and collaboration with Circular Citizen, Citra, and One Earth. The pilot program involved 7 circular businesses, 1 nonprofit, and 1 city, the city of Portland. I'm going to share with you 2 examples of businesses who were involved and how they benefited from being part of the SHIFT program. So the first one is called Ethical Chair. An Ethical Chair's mission is to provide reclaimed and upcycled furniture for residents of Greater Vancouver. And they sell items as is, restored or upholstered, transformed into artisan pieces. And in some cases, when none of these things can be done, broken down for optimal recycling. They partner with Big Brothers and other charities, and their goal is to reduce furniture to landfill, but they also have a social purpose goal to hire refugees and recent immigrants. Now, what they decided as an earlier stage business is that they would focus their target markets and link them to motivation profiles. So they chose Waste Not, Want Not, but they also chose another one called Eco Trends. And this is about 20% of the BC population that are motivated by aligning with progressive trends and consciously doing something for things like the climate emergency, social justice, and benefit to their local community. Ethical Chair tested a variety of messaging on Facebook and Instagram with the same image that you can see on this slide. And basically a core kind of social influence factor But they chose a variety of ecological and social good messages, and they also had some messaging linked to individual self benefits. What they learned is that both ecological and social good messages are appealing to their target markets, but they also realized that healthy life and planet was a motivational profile that they should target. And this is 14% of the BC population who are consciously and purposely making choices both for the planet, but also for their personal health and the well-being of their community. And to kind of match a lean startup reality, they decided that it might be smart to first focus on eco trends and healthy life and planet motivation profiles. And then when they're further along on their business development journey, to tweak their innovation and messaging to expand to include the waste not, want not motivation profiles. The second business I'm going to talk about is the Fulfill Shop. Their mission is to make it easy for suburban families, in particular, to reduce packaging and plastic waste for household goods, food, and personal care products. And they really had a specific desired behavior change, and that was to get women aged 28 to 45 to consistently not just come to their website, but to add items to their cart. And what they did is they tested messaging with 4 Facebook ads over 3 weeks using a variety of collective, individual, and what's called injunctive messages. And these are messages that involve injunctive norms that reflect what others think should be done. For example, your neighbors want you to make zero waste choices. So these are their 2 top ads. How to be an everyday superhero and tasty snacks, zero waste, easy peasy. Both of these link to the social influence shift factor, but on the left, they're appealing to individual self-image more, and on the right, to a combination of collective and individual benefits and values. What they learned is that social influence is important, for sure, but habit formation is really the key to enhancing sales. So what they plan to do is actually try a habit change-based campaign and also to evolve to include a subscription model and QR stickers to trigger reorder. They'd also like to test messaging with descriptive norms, and these are slightly different. And what they're stated as is just saying your neighbors are buying X or Y product from us. And what's interesting about this is one study actually showed that telling online shoppers what other people's eco-friendly buying choices are can lead to 65% of people making at least one sustainable purchase, which is very significant. So we are pleased to be hosting a public webinar on June 23rd from noon to 1:30 p.m. where we're going to share out more about the shifting consumer behavior and how the other businesses and organizations involved benefited. We're also in the process of developing a program brief that's going to share out the process and results and also have a do-it-yourself activation toolkit that'll be ready for the fall. And we will be looking for more businesses who are interested in developing persuasive messaging to shift behaviors so that they can enhance their sales and market shares. So this is all well and good, but the last thing is to consider how can businesses anticipate emergent demand so that they can take a forward-looking strategic approach to innovation. And really the answer is it's really important to understand what's in the hearts and minds of leading edge consumers that are shaping the markets of tomorrow. And of course, once again, Finland has already done a global study breaking ground in this area. What they did through a combination of qualitative and quantitative research is that they developed an understanding of front-running consumers in 7 countries, but not in Canada. And what this revealed was 4 new interconnected market opportunity spaces, all of which address a variety of social, cultural needs and values, and to their surprise, sustainability cut across all four of them. These insights have actually driven circular innovation globally. The most notable example is contributing to the development of IKEA's new furniture rental, repair, and sellback programs. Stuff and Flux Round 2 will start in late August and take a fresh look at the characteristics and size of leading edge consumers in key global markets. We really would like Canada to be one of those markets. And so we are seeking medium to larger Canadian companies who want to engage with the leading edge directly to see the future of circular innovation. This study is being proposed with key partners, Alice Labs, who actually led the first study for Citra, and Circular Citizen. And we've also been talking with Paul Shorthouse, Managing Director of the Circular Economy Leadership Coalition. Once we've done the study, we also hope to activate and bring in small and medium-sized enterprises to benefit from understanding the leading edge. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you've learned a little bit more about the complex dynamic between circular demand and supply, and 3 key tools that businesses can use to understand, tap into, and anticipate circular demand, so that we can make sure that circular businesses in BC, Canada, and beyond truly thrive. And as we say at the Share, Reuse, Repair initiative, if we can do this and we can make the most of things, we can create shared and lasting prosperity for all within Earth's planetary boundaries. So I invite you to reach out to us. You are also welcome to go to the Share, Reuse, Repair initiative website and sign up for our newsletter, which will also include key event announcements like some of our upcoming webinars. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Metal Tech Alley Conference.